Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Monica, and in today's video I'm doing a review of the Cantigee Oracle. This video is divided into three parts, which are time-stamped below. To start off with, I'm going to give an introduction and my thoughts, my impressions, and an overall brief review of the Cantigee Oracle, followed by a pairing where I'm pairing the Oracle with a tarot deck to give me a bit more insight or information and just to see, get a feel for the flavor of it, I guess. And finally, I am doing a full flip through all the 52 cards. So if you've never seen this deck before, you can check that out at the very end and see all the cards. So before I start, I'm going to back it up a bit and make a bit of a disclaimer about my take on Oracle decks, because I'm primarily a tarot reader. I work with tarot, the tarot structure, and also Lenormand. And for the longest time, I stayed away from Oracle decks because I felt that, number one, the market for oracles is oversaturated. There is a plethora of decks out there to choose from, but despite of that, in my opinion, and this is my opinion only, I personally felt that the vast majority of the oracle decks out there are a bit light in substance. They're a bit repetitive, in my opinion. Again, I think that you find the same cliched card keywords and meanings. They're a bit superficial, they don't have depth or substance, and that's just me. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't a space for that in our world. I understand only too well that when you're a bit tender to the world, you're a bit raw, you're a bit hurt, that is precisely what you might need. You need a big warm hug. You need something to soothe you and comfort you. I'm not saying that it's all negative, but for me personally, they just weren't what I was searching for and what I needed, okay? And that started to change last year when I came across some oracle decks that, really inspired me. And made me think that I'm now in trouble, because not only do I have so many tarot decks to choose from to spend my money on, but now I've got oracle decks as well. But I think it's wonderful that, the oracle market or the oracle field has changed or is changing in really wonderful ways. And only recently I came across a video that talked about the Cantigee Oracle. And this was M.A. the Grey, and she was looking at her one card draw, I think for the month, from memory. And instantly I loved what I saw. It was love at first sight. And I thought, I've got to get that, which I did promptly. Like within the next couple of days, I went online and I went, you know what, I've got to get this. So, with all of that being said, I guess what I was trying to say is that there are now decks such as the Cantigee Oracle that are really breaking that mold of oracle decks and what oracle decks, are like, or what when you think about an oracle deck. At least for me, anyway, it's certainly changed my perception considerably. It's not the only deck. I have a couple of others that I'll talk about later on in the year, but for now, the Cantigee Oracle comes in a really wonderful sturdy box, and I like that they have these really handy thumb marks or finger marks, so you can actually, open it and close it with ease. I think, please, deck creators, if you do a box like this, always include that, otherwise it's just a pain to get the cards out. The Cantigee Oracle description on the box says that it is an ecological, spiritual guide and creative prompt deck. It is written by Ray Diamond, and the art is by Laura Zaspin. I'm going to take a moment here to really congratulate and acknowledge the amazing work that these two artists have done in creating this deck. Not just in the artwork themselves, but also the messages on the cards and the book. It's all an exceptionally well curated deck. So let's talk about the book briefly before I look at the cards. I want to mention the book because these 52 cards aren't, as I mentioned, they're very unusual, they're very different, and the book is excellent in giving you details and information on the cards. In a sense, you can go by the artwork and the message on each card. However, the book provides a plethora of information way beyond and above what you would get in a normal oracle book, I feel, at least. Allow me to quote a little bit from the beginning of the introduction. I would like to quote this to give you an idea of what the Cantigee is all about. What is Cantigee? Cantigee is a word created from two roots. Cantus, a word that could be translated as song, spell, or enchantment, and G, a suffix that translates as earth. Thus, Cantigee is a song the earth sings, a spell it weaves, an enchantment it emanates. This deck, this book, and all of the archetypes within them are prayers of gratitude, healing, and awakening. Cantigee as a concept, however, spans far beyond the 52 archetypes of this deck and book. If the earth is singing a song, then every pebble, every leaf, every whisker, every fang, every storm, every crash of wave, every microbe, every wing beat, every shimmer of light on ice, and each and every one of us is a melody within an immense chorus. The best we can possibly offer the earth is to listen to its song, and in listening to its song, let it enchant and inspire us. And in letting it enchant and inspire us, let a melody come through us that is at once both entirely of us and yet somehow beyond what we could have ever imagined on our own. And every time I read that, I get goosebumps. I feel like the creators have, split me open and really looked inside my heart and my mind and creating this oracle deck. And I thank them both for birthing such a beautiful creation into our world. So, aside from the introduction, I also want to mention that the book is comprehensive, if I haven't already done so. And at the very beginning, you have quite a few spreads to work with. You also have a succinct summary of the card meanings at the beginning, going through them by a cycle. So the 52 cards, the idea is that they reflect the 52 weeks of the year, and we have a cyclical pattern within these cards. And you have this Cantigee as a yearly cycle, succinct guidance here. But there is, of course, a description for each card that is so in depth, like there's just incredible amount to work with in here. For example, if I look at, I'll just take one, like Licking Dew from Green Leaves is a card in the deck. To start off with, you have a fiction story. It's like you're going on to this journey of folktale, almost mystery, mythical tale. You have keynotes, you have symbology, you have guidance. You also have, as an icon, it tells you information there, as a portal, practice, creative prompt, and ecological connection. There is a lot for you to chew on and to go into as deep as you wish to. Okay, so that is, I commend the book basically, and it comes as a pack, of course, with the cards and the book. And now the cards. So they're fairly big. And if I would have one critique to make of this deck, is that, if you know me, I don't like plastic laminated cards. And also the fact that they're made in China as well raises some issues for me. Now, in no way am I telling the creators what to do or that this is a negative thing. I understand, or I think I understand, that you have to strive a balance between making a deck accessible, i.e. affordable for the people, and you know, the decision sort of informs what choices you make. But I guess wish that this was more of a cardboard stock, like more of a natural feel. That would be like the only critique that I would have of this deck if I am to keep this unbiased and objective, which is hard because I love it so much. So let's have a look at some cards to give you an idea of what I feel about this tarot deck. So it is an unusual tarot deck, and the card images and the description for each card, it really lets you know just how unique and unusual it is. Okay. I think that the artwork is really beautiful, and I wouldn't have normally said that if I saw this, I think, in a different context. But the more I work with this tarot deck, the more that the artwork just grows on me. I believe it is done in watercolor. I'm not familiar with artistic mediums, but to me, to my untrained eye, this sort of looks like a watercolor medium. And you can go by the image, and I think that's always my first port of call, is to actually look at the image and get a flavor, try and really tease out what the meaning here is all about. Then you also have the message underneath, so in this case carried by the current. Your feet are two fish. You see what I mean? I mean, this is very, very unique and original, and it's definitely taking me out of my comfort zone as a reader, really getting my intuition a bit of an exercise, like a cardio exercise. In reading with this deck, and that's a great thing. I think that's something that I really needed and I really yearn for. Just something a bit more original, please. If you're going to create an oracle deck in a sea of oracle decks, in an ocean of oracle decks, which I see, you know, like I'm part of a couple of groups on Facebook that sell tarot and oracle. And it's a regular occurrence to see someone offloading 10, 20, 30 oracle decks that are cheap. Okay, that's my opinion. I know for some people I think that's harsh, but I've got to be honest to who I am and how I view things as well. So to say something like this, this one's called The Unburdened Bones. Let me see if I can move these a bit to give you a better view. Okay. So yes, it is original, no doubt about it. It is beautiful. It makes you think, it makes you ponder. It's a deck that you go in depth with. Well, I like to take my time with each card. It's going to take me a while to get through all of the cards. I've done a bit of work with some of them already to know the value that this deck holds in being authentic to our yearnings to learn about ourselves and our world, and to go a bit deeper. So with all of that being said, I'm going to do a bit of work in pairing it. Just want to say that when pairing this initially I wanted so much to pair it with the Songs of the Journey Home. Not just because the Songs of the Journey Home, which I actually have here, it's a round deck, that's just coincidental. It's the ethos that this deck holds, which I think matches the ethos of the Cantigee Oracle. However, I decided against it because to me the idea of a pairing is to help me out understand the deck, to give me more information, to see how well it works with another deck. And I find that because the Cantigee is unusual and it's complex and it can be complicated at times, it takes a while sometimes with some of the cards to think about it and to distill what they're all about. The Songs for the Journey Home is also a deck that is not straightforward in the way that they've named the cards, and yeah, the meaning of the cards, and some of the cards are very, very tricky to understand, and they're renamed as well. So this one's called Wind Resolving. So anyway, the conclusion of that long ramble is that I'm not using songs for the journey home. And so to start off with, I went for the Gaian Tarot, which is a deck that I think the imagery is easier, at least to me, to get an instant understanding of when paired with the Cantigee. So allow me to shuffle this a little bit. So, you know, when I do these exercises and when I've seen others do them as well, the idea is that you want a random, you know, it's a bit like a reading. You don't pre-select the cards. Well, I don't. I give it a good shuffle and then I have a look at what comes up. So let's leave this here. So that's the Cantigee, and then we also have with my tea, which I will drink at some point. I see my candle's gone out. Okay. Ooh. And if you're wondering, this is the indie edition of the Gaian Tarot, which I bought many, many, many years ago when it first came out. Rightio. So let's have a look. Okay, actually, priorities first. Rightio. So, in the tunnels of our ancestors is paired with 7 of air. Here's something that strikes me instantly about this. See the path, the tunnels of the ancestors under the earth. What have we got on this map? We've got many paths, and this guy here is trying to figure out the right one for him. And to me, that speaks of the fact that, you know, your ancestral lineage informs so much of who you are, but at the same time, for some people it is necessary to break away, and for all people it is necessary to find their own path in life. So I like that. Okay. A fierce desert flower is paired with 9 of fire. How interesting and beautiful. So here's another detail. Isn't this, I love this. We're talking about a desert flower. We've got a desert cacti. And where is this person sitting? They're sitting, to me, like in a cave in the desert. That's what this image really talks about. And furthermore, this flower bursting forth here, it's like mirrors this psychic or etheric energy field that's sort of coming down and also growing from our person who's meditating here. Lovely. Next, your ears become a butterfly. See what I mean? I mean, there's nothing like it out there. Your ears become a butterfly. Explorer of air. So we think about ears and we think about listening, right? Listening is a function of the air element. And we've got the explorer of air. Someone up high exploring concepts and ideas and listening to the song of birds and the messages from higher above. Yeah. Do I need to say any more? No. Next, primary nourishment is paired with the Magician. Wow. Quite similar color choices in these cards, isn't there? And the tones and the hues. And yeah, the paintings on the cave and even the clothes that he's wearing. Primary nourishment. to me, as a practitioner of what I call natural magic, to me that is my primary nourishment. I mean, of course, food is also a source of primary nourishment. Yes, I will die without food. But my soul will die without magic and wonder and mystery. And I love the idea of, singing your own song and drumming your own beat and raising an energy of magic. Love that. Up next. They do not miss their seed pods. Isn't that beautiful? To me, that's a dandelion. And instantly I think about freedom. When you're free, you're not going to go back to something that tethers you or anchors you. And it's time to explore things. And we've got the child of air. And that's really the child of air. This is so beautiful. It's like all the little dandelion seed pods bursting out and all the butterflies, meandering through. How beautiful. They're definitely supportive cards within each other. I love that. The voice of the moon. Ace of fire. The voice of the moon, like, listening to our hearts and what we need for nourishment. The moon is connected to nourishment, especially astrologically. And the Ace of Fire is like something bursting through, something new. It's like a new creativity about to come into life. And that relies on, listening to our deeper feelings and emotions, which is what the moon stands for, at least to me. It does so. All intelligent tentacles. Oh goodness. All intelligent tentacles is paired with the explorer of fire. And so all intelligent tentacles, the idea with the octopus is that it has an intelligence in its whole body, and the explorer of fire is like the equivalent of the Knight of Wands in the sort of creative pursuit of playing with fire and of exploring something with your body. This is a body work exercise when you're working with fire. Like, sure, you need the mind to focus and to do things like that, but it's also your body and how your body moves with the fire, and the intelligence of a human body working with the fire element. That's what comes through to me. Let's do 3 more, otherwise we'll be here all day. A swarm of bees is paired with justice. I like that. What comes through immediately is the bee as such a necessary part of the ecosystem and such a beautiful part of it. Where would we be without bees? I don't know about you, but I don't want to live in a world where we have artificial, digitally created pollinators. I want to have bees. And the Justice card is about our decisions and what we're doing to this earth, right? How we're treating this earth. Anyway, could go on forever. You can see how these cards are so well matched in many cases. The Infinite Web and 3 of Fire. So there's the creativity and the movement. There's this beautiful, I love the orbs, moving through. And that's the infinite web, to me at least. It's like the web of life that just keeps on going and going, like this sort of energetic play at hand. And finally, every star is a doorknob. I like that. I really love that. Every star is a doorknob with child of earth. So when we touch the doorknob and when we open the door, which lets forth this burst of light and energy, when we've made that choice because it's every star is a doorknob. So there's many stars and there's many doorknobs. You know, there's many portals that we can open. And there's a child of Earth, and I see this as a child within each of us, tasting something beautiful and delicious. And it's not evil, the apple. You know, we've that story of Adam and Eve and the apple, and there is nothing evil about the beauty of our world, people. You know, and anyway, to me, there's that opening and, you know, choosing to allow the immense beauty in the world, in our lives, and the light that comes forth from the door. That's what comes to me anyway. So I'm going to wrap it up here. I hope you've enjoyed this journey with me with the Cantigee Oracle, and thank you to M.A. the Grey, where I first saw this. I have a bit of an organic feel around the tarot tube, where I no longer go searching for particular decks. Like, I don't look at new releases or anything like that. I just sort of let them permeate and percolate through in my life from what I watch other creators in the tarot world on YouTube use their decks and how they use them. So and that works for me. So thank you, MA, and as always, thank you everyone for watching. Thank you for joining me here on my journey with the Cantigee Oracle, and until next time, take care. you.